Just when you thought it was all over, they always come back for more. Nothing truly stays dead forever. The witching hour is upon us, and time is running out. It's a race against the clock and against the undead. This is the Venom month of horrors for Corona Fever.
Well, look on the bright side. At least it can't possibly get any worse.
Rob?
Will.
You made fun of Halloween 6!
Yep.
That movie's golden!
Oh, sorry, you're serious?
Well, what's wrong with it?
Michael Myers raped his niece.
No, he didn't.
But then where the hell did the baby come from?
It was made in a lab. That's why they had all the jars with little failed baby clones in them.
That's even dumber!
How is that worse?
A baby was made in a lab! Why do you make the weirdest things sound so normal and casual? Freddy Krueger whipped a bare ass with a towel. That's just stupid. Why?
Okay, well, maybe you can give it another try.
Why?
There was another cut released.
Oh, God. So after the film's disastrous production was over and filming and editing of the initial theatrical cut was completed, it was screened to a test audience which, according to actress Marianne Hagen, mostly consisted of 14-year-old boys. So basically, EFAP's entire fanbase.
Oh, yes.
During a Q&A following the screening, many audience members angrily slammed the ending, which sent the producers into a panic, as they believed this would hurt the movie's profits. The film was then immediately rushed back into production, this time without Donald Pleasance, as he had passed away not long before.
They were practically trying to shoot the entire movie from scratch all over again. Reshoots took place in Los Angeles in the summer of '95, but because of the production's sudden announcement, many cast members weren't even able to return. Most notably, A. Michael Lerner, who played Michael Myers, was replaced by George P. Wilbur as the studio executives wanted him to appear less bulky. This, however, resulted in several continuity errors as the last third of the film features a much slimmer Myers with much less of a dad bod. However, Wilbur makes a cameo appearance as a doctor who is killed by Myers in the finale. Some of the additional footage incorporated into the climax of the film was shot at Queens of Angels Hospital in Los Angeles, California.
In addition to the reshoots caused by the poor test screening, the film also went through significant editing and post-production, resulting in much faster pacing and a flashier cinematic style that, according to writer Daniel Farrands, favored blood and guts over common sense, and ultimately resulted in a more confusing movie, stating that it looked more like an MTV music video than a Halloween film. On top of the edits that took place to the film itself, Alan Howarth's musical score was greatly altered to make it sound louder and more explosive, as opposed to the subtle minimalist approach he had originally taken.
In fact, Quentin Tarantino was even brought in to help rewrite the opening sequence, but he ended up leaving the production when him and Farrands couldn't agree on how to best handle the scene. Way before I'd even done anything. It would have been if I had done it. I never got hired, but it would have been my job to figure out who the guy in the boots is. I was like, leave that scene where the man in black shows up, alright, and frees Michael Myers. And so the only thing that I had in my mind, I still hadn't figured out who that dude was like the first 20 minutes would have been the Lee Van Cleef dude and Michael Myers on the highway on the road, and they stop at coffee shops and and wherever Michael Myers stops, he kills everybody. So they're like leaving a trail of bodies on Route 66.
Okay, that sounds pretty cool too.
No, it doesn't! Stop making retarded sound cool! Oh yes, Michael Myers in a coffee shop. Yes, that sounds great. And of course Tarantino wanted to be involved. It features the rape of an underage girl.
God.
Because of the initial poor test screenings, the film wasn't screened for critics before its general release, and Halloween: The Curse of Michael Myers was released on September 29th, 1995. The film not only flopped at the box office, only making $15 million worldwide, less than a quarter of the first film's gross 17 years earlier, but it was panned by both critics and fans of the franchise alike, and is sometimes even regarded as one of the worst movies ever made. But they're all wrong. It's the best of the series, and in my opinion, the only great Halloween film.
Are you sure you're not a character?
No, it's an amazing movie. It's probably the only great movie in the Halloween franchise.
Halloween 6.
Yes.
The Curse of Michael Myers.
Yes.
The one with Paul Rudd in it.
Yes.
The best one.
Yes!
You lost me.
What are you talking about?
However, many years later, the original cut of the film that was hated by test audiences started to resurface and would eventually become bootlegged by film collectors, later being referred to as the producer's cut. Unlike many alternate versions of films which usually only feature a few deleted scenes that were cut for time reinserted into the movie, the alternate cut of Halloween 6 was almost a completely different film altogether than its theatrical release. Changes ranged from things as tiny as new musical cues to completely new versions of certain scenes, which we'll get onto as the review goes along. But as far as I'm aware, this is the only movie in history that has a producer's cut.
What the hell?
Screenwriter Daniel Ferrans did admit that, although he likes the producer's cut, he did think there were many ways that it could have been improved, especially with the ending and the pacing of the entire third act, which we'll get onto with time. It's gothic and creepy, but you kind of lose the intensity of where we've been. I think we could have gone in and given it more intensity and more of a scare factor.
The producer's cut remained officially unreleased for nearly 20 years until it was screened at the New Beverly Cinema in Los Angeles on October 27, 2013, and was met with an overwhelmingly positive response, which then prompted the studio to give the film a proper release. The producer's cut of Halloween 6 was finally released on DVD and Blu-ray in September 2014, and to this day, most fans of the franchise called it a definitive version of the film. See? People who hate the theatrical cut of this film love the producer's cut, so maybe you like this one more!
Do you like it?
Oh yeah, it's equally as good as the theatrical cut. I think they balance each other's strengths and weaknesses out well, and which one I choose to watch really depends on what my mood's in.
We're doomed. So the movie opens up to once again remind us that Danielle Harris isn't in it. Movie sucks.
Let it go.
No, it's Danielle Harris.
Is something wrong?
Oh, and Jamie clearly isn't 15 here. Stupid in both versions of the film. Oh, looks like she's just been committed after watching the theatrical version. But ooh, they slow-mo her labor pains to make it much more dramatic in this version. Ah, the man who was supposed to be Michael's dad or brother, but that would have been a good idea, so they scrapped it. Can't have that in their movie. Anyway, he takes the baby away.
This version has the opening monologue read by Donald Pleasance instead of Paul Rudd, and I think it works a lot better. Pleasance is synonymous for this franchise, and the director sadly cut most of Loomis' stuff out of the theatrical version because he found him too boring. Okay, Joe Chappelle is a genius, and I will never stop giving him credit for that, but that was a douchebag move.
For years he was locked up, locked away, in Smith Grove Sanatorium. But he escaped.
Sorry, but I love that delivery.
But he escaped.
Just all that build-up and everybody was incompetent and he managed to get away. I will stand by my opinion that Halloween 5 is great.
Oh, Halloween 5 is good, but 6 is the one that sucks.
Yes! But as much as I love Part 5, the ending was pure trash. I'm sorry, but the image of Michael Myers being handcuffed in a cell, harmonica in hand, while I got locked away. My sister done got stabbed. It's Michael Myers! But in this cut of the film, they somehow make it even dumber. We literally see the Shape, this mysterious satanic being, this unkillable, unstoppable, psychopathic murderer, physically being taken away into a van. What the hell is this? It's Michael Myers! Come here, Mike. You keep your hands where I can see them. We're having some spaghetti carbonara back at the asylum.
I can't defend this aspect. It's really stupid. So Jamie gets helped out by a doctor before the iconic Halloween theme drops.
Alright, this remix isn't too bad. Until she refuses to escape with her. It still makes no sense. Why doesn't she go with her? Oh well, it is shot really nicely. I'll give him that. What even is that run? Mother You ain't running for your life, that's a brisk jog.
But the first shot of Michael Myers appearing is so chilling. It's such a creepy and iconic moment.
That's when the remix kicks in and... yeah, I'm not a fan. He does kill the dumbass nurse who should have escaped when she had the chance, but I'll give him this much. They do have a very nice touch where Michael murders her and pins her corpse up against a wall. It's a cool throwback to the original, even tilting his head as he looks at her.
People say this movie is a disgrace to the series, but it perfectly goes back to Michael seeing his murders as a work of art. Right here, he's back to his roots of admiring his killings. It's great.
The nighttime scenes are shot really well. One thing I can't fault this movie for in both versions is the cinematography. I hated the editing in the theatrical version because it was shot perfectly fine, but the editing just messed up the whole look of the film. But here it doesn't have the seizure-inducing editing, so it's fine. Then Jamie steals a truck before Michael kills this dude like before.
But unlike the theatrical cut where his spine gets ripped in two, Michael just snaps his neck here. I get that this is the original vision, but did they really need to intentionally make the kills blander?
Much like the theatrical version, we then cut to Danny, the generic creepy kid in a horror movie who hears supernatural voices because we've never seen that before! He even has the same name! Anyway, the man in black appears and it all just seems so forced, and this kid is a terrible actor. He is atrocious. If they were aiming to replace Danielle Harris with this little head, they should be ashamed of themselves.
I disagree.
Well, you're wrong.
I think Devin Gardner is a pretty likable, plucky presence, and while his delivery is a little shaky at the beginning, he really steps up his game near the end. I think he did a solid job of showing the evil of Thorne slowly taking him over, but he's a likable enough kid that I'm invested in him beforehand. As for the Man in Black stuff, I think it's introduced pretty cleverly, as a children's nightmare where it's ambiguous whether what Danny is seeing is real or just a bad dream. Another nice little touch from this version is this cute little jingle that Danny's mom Kara says to keep the voice man away. Actress Marianne Hagen has some great chemistry with Garner, and the moment just comes across as very wholesome and earnest.
Hell, we never even find out who Danny's father is. Maybe it's Michael. You can never tell these days. He's knocking everybody up.
That's what someone would like us to believe.
Like the theatrical version, we still get the weirdo lady on the radio who wants to pork Michael, though it is extended a bit longer. Before we cut to Kara, I will admit, I do quite like her character. But after spending 2 films with Ellie Cornell's Rachel, she just doesn't compare.
Well, 1.5 films, technically.
Shut up. Why did Phoebe marry me? Also, can we please have some scientific experiments done on Paul Rudd? How the hell has the man not aged for 30 years? This is basically the same scene as the theatrical version. He calls up the radio and preaches Myers bollocks, but to be fair, Rudd still nails it. He's the best part of the movie.
Barry, what happened to that psychiatrist of his, Loomis? I heard the old quack was dead.
What, are you looking for a referral?
Not dead.
You know, maybe you should contact his attorney.
Just very much retired.
No more Halloween films. This one's just too good.
It's
You know something? You're
Tomorrow night is gonna change.
I'm calling Danielle Harris. I'm not good enough for this
Will you shut the up about Danielle Harris?
No! Should have been her!
She wasn't in Halloween 2018 either.
I know!
They asked Paul Rudd to come back as Tommy Doyle, though. That must mean they like Halloween 6.
No, it doesn't! But despite being retired, Dr. Wynn, you know, that guy in one scene in the original, yeah, him, asks him to come out of retirement for one more case to fulfill another cliche.
Well, at least this franchise finally remembered that Dr. Loomis is a doctor and not some monster hunter. Took them until Pleasance was at death's door, but better late than never, I guess. I love Tommy's reaction to Jamie's calls of distress on the radio. He's not even surprised. He was ready and waiting for it.
Wait, so where the hell was he for the last 2 films? Was he f***ing his sister? Stop starring in movies with incest, you weirdo! So Michael finally shows up and... Alright, this is quite creepy. And the baby is conveniently really quiet all of a sudden. The thing is, the theatrical cut had absolutely no music here. It was a great way to build the suspense and tension. You could hear a pin drop. But here, they plaster it with music.
It kind of ruins the tension. It's not needed.
I do like how they maintain continuity by still having Michael's hand burned, though. It is quite a nice touch. But why the hell would Jamie even risk leaving her baby behind? What if Michael didn't fall for a bait? What if the little actually made noise like a normal baby? What if Michael found him?
But I do prefer the car ride in the theatrical version. The music is completely different, and it adds a lot more personality and intensity.
So they end up on the set of Friday the 13th Part 3.
And this shot of Michael in the background in the shadows, with you barely being able to see him, is horrifying. The lighting is incredible.
But hey, even though I hate the theatrical version of Halloween 6, do you want to know what made Jamie's death so good? Let's just pretend it's the same character as Jamie in 4 and 5, even though it isn't. Remember that scene in the last one that everyone hated? Michael spent 11 years on a rampage, and nobody was ever able to stop him. Then Jamie, the only relative other than Laurie who actually attempted to reach him, does so, and it affects him emotionally, to the point that he cries. Weirdly, it shows a sense of closeness in a film where they are telepathically connected. Which, yes, is still stupid. But now we get to this movie. Michael lets Jamie get away and made a mistake. She's out, and once cornered, he has her in the most sympathetic situation imaginable. She's just given birth, she's weak, she's tired. He pushes her onto an electric drill and she reaches out, hoping there's still some compassion left in him. Hoping he remembers the compassion she showed him those years earlier. Hoping he'll have some mercy after how they were emotionally attached. But Michael shoves her further onto the drill, but she's still alive and still wants help, and Michael literally flips the switch to drill the life out of her. It's the only death in this entire franchise to make me cringe, and it was actually fantastically done. But in this version, oh, he just stabs her. That's it. In fact, no, that's not it. Let me elaborate. Michael stabs her, she's in a coma for the rest of the film, and then Dr. Wynn shoots her in the head in the hospital at the end. Well done for shitting on one of the only good moments in your theatrical version. No wonder this was remade.
You can't have the baby, Michael.
Well, I can do whatever I want. I made her.
Then we see Biff Tannen, the douchebag dad who we know is gonna die.
But the Halloween atmosphere here is just amazing. The minimalist musical score, the slight orangey hue, trick-or-treaters lining the streets. More than any of the other Michael Myers films, this one has such a rich Halloween vibe to it that it brings me back to when I was a kid, which is one of the reasons why I resonate to it so much.
The movie where Michael Myers his niece brings you back to your childhood.
It was Jamie Lloyd.
That was 6 years ago.
No, don't give us Dr. Loomis in a Halloween movie. No, he's boring. All right, I will admit that this dialogue is some of his best work.
Michael is alive. I can feel his evil heart beating. I can see him just as I did all those years ago, behind these very same walls, staring, always growing stronger. Please, as my colleague, as my friend, I can't go through this again.
He's still got it. But why is anybody doubting that Michael is still alive? How many times does he need to come back from the dead?
Dawn, I'd like you to get Dr. Loomis anything he needs.
A decent sequel?
Notify the Haddonfield Sheriff, tell him we're on the way. I want the entire staff on alert. We go to Code Red Lockdown.
I know the feeling. Also, is it just me, or don't you think Kara's brother should have been played by Leonardo DiCaprio?
It's facing my property. Showed them.
What the hell? How old is he? He sounds so childish. I'm a suit. I'll show them who's boss.
Another thing that I love about this film is that it's much more of a broken home story than its predecessors. It's not only unique for the franchise, it's arguably unique for the slasher genre as a whole, and it's really refreshing to see a Halloween movie that tackles the darker side of the suburban family dynamic. As seen as the dad walks in, the entire mood in the room changes. This was never explored in the previous films, and I love it.
Living in this house is enough to drive anyone crazy.
Oh, yeah? Well, who the hell asked you to come back here in the first place?
I am obviously going to die.
Before you came around, everything was going fine. Till you landed on our doorstep. You and that little...
I see only one bad in this house.
Get away from her.
Get acting away from her!
In this version, they actually add in some creepy music as the family is arguing, whereas in the theatrical cut, it's just when Danny pulls the knife out, and I do prefer the editing in the theatrical version. It's just a lot less delayed with their reactions, so the acting feels a lot more natural, and the scene in general just has a lot more urgency and a lot more suspense. And I love the character of Kara. She's a single mother, which hasn't really been explored before in the series, but she's independent, coming from an abusive home and is going back to college. You could have easily gotten her to become romantically involved with Tommy, but it never happens because it's just not needed.
But I must admit, this version does add a lot more to the family subplot. In the theatrical version, it's all left ambiguous, but here...
You don't understand, do you? It's not about Kara, it's about you. I don't care what she's done, she's your daughter.
She's not my daughter anymore.
I'm slightly intrigued by where this is going. I said slightly.
That's what someone would like us to believe.
The music in the theatrical version was very heavy rock based, and it worked as it made the style of the film more aggressive, but here, it just feels really overused.
Even the basic scene of Tommy investigating the bus station, which was silent in the theatrical version, gets music here. Why? This film literally adds music to everything! What are you doing? I'm just eating crisps. There is literally nothing scary going on. I'm gonna go pee. Are you kidding me? Oh, but then the baby decides to wake up and let Tommy discover him. I'll take care of you, little buddy. You're gonna become an Avenger.
Good God, what's that?
It's his mark.
That he has never once left before, but yeah, sure, that's his mark.
Well, to be fair, we've never actually seen him kill another living relative on screen before. I mean, I guess there was Judith, but we never actually saw the crime scene. For all we know, there could have been a mark there.
No!
Michael Myers is my business.
It's been quiet here for 6 years, and that's the way it's gonna stay. And the last thing I need now is you going around spouting off ghost stories.
I suppose it was a ghost that did all this, huh?
Oh, now Loomis is far too boring for me. Next scene.
And what's worse is that this is probably one of the best Loomis scenes in the franchise. You can really feel both his anger at the Haddonfield police for not being there for Jamie, as well as his own guilt for not being able to save her. The dialogue is creepy and ominous, describing Michael while not going overboard like some of the other films in the series tend to do. How did this get cut?
Yo, check it out. Tonight's gonna be killer.
But Jesus Christ, they're just walking to college and they have music playing. You don't need music for everything. Oh, John Carpenter, we love you so much. We're going to use your music for absolutely everything. Oh, John Carpenter. Laurie's having a
He's been having nightmares.
I think it's cool.
I think I'm acting. She is walking to college! Why the music? They are making out! Why are you adding music? What was the point in that close-up? And turn. Then Michael Myers turns up looking like Seth Rogen.
I need to see a doctor.
What seems to be the problem?
It's my baby. There's been an accident.
I made Sausage Party!
I'm still confused. How the hell does Tommy recognize the back of Loomis nearly 20 years after last meeting him?
What do you know about Michael?
He tried to kill me when I was a kid.
She is the last of his bloodline.
No, Dr. Loomis. She's not the last. Oh, God.
So in both versions, he f***ed his niece.
He didn't in the theatrical cut!
Look, I have seen the theatrical version a million times, and not once did I take back the fact that the baby was made in a lab, okay? And that line pretty much confirms he porked his niece in both versions.
They showed all the babies in the jars. They even had that little DNA symbol on the side to, like, basically spell it out for the audience.
That could have meant anything. Meanwhile, Seth Rogen is watching the Strode family. This whole sequence is basically the same.
And he told me about the terrible things that happened here in our house.
Deborah, what the hell are you doing? Talking to strangers? Letting them in our house?
John, they found Jamie Lloyd this morning. Someone tried to kill her.
Deborah, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. You ought to stop watching those damn TV talk shows.
What? TV talk shows? What the f*** are you talking about?
Definitely Maury.
The reason you moved us into this house. Your brother could never sell it because of what happened here, could he? And you knew. And you didn't tell us, John.
Alright, I will say that the acting and dialogue here is really good. Shut up.
You knew.
God damn it.
I am a suit!
Happy Halloween, little girl.
Okay, I am starting to believe the fan theory that he knocked up his own daughter. I think that's all the confirmation we needed.
Hello?
We want the child.
Who is this?
Okay, that voice is chilling, and that shot of Michael in the background is just the stuff of nightmares.
Sorry, but I'm not taking this seriously. The voice sounds ridiculous. I am scary. Then Michael shows up along with the awful electronic remix. Before, well, you've seen it all before. And just to make Tommy even more creepy and paedophile-like, now he's kidnapped Danny too. But the thing is, in the theatrical version, Kara walks around the house trying to find him and there's creepy music. But here it's just silent and there's no atmosphere. It's just empty. They have it all backwards. Whenever they need music, they don't add it. Whenever they don't, they do add it.
Danny, go downstairs.
But Tommy's my new friend and he knows all about dinosaurs.
Nah.
You don't really expect us to stay here, do you?
Fine. F off and die then.
Yeah. It's okay. It's okay, Steven.
I'm just gonna put you in the fridge. I love this shot. As we see Michael outside in the fog, it's so chilling with such atmospheric lighting.
He has a dad bod! Look at him! Why did they cast Homer Simpson as Michael Myers?
It's called being physically imposing. You're telling me you could take this Michael Myers in a fight? This guy's built like an NFL defensive tackle. He'd knock us over like bowling pins.
No, he's built like a fat American who sits and watches the NFL with a beer in his hand. This is when we get a montage to reveal that Jamie is still alive, which honestly, I completely forgot about her. And we see several rituals being done to her. I mean, sure, it's creepy, but it's just so stupid.
Alors, cher monsieur.
This is Halloween! I mean, I'm sorry, I just find these rituals and the spiritual and satanic shit just so stupid. And I know it was mentioned in Halloween 2, but it's just not needed. It's a serial killer murdering his family. Why add all of this bollocks?
Why not? I actually think it's a pretty clever tie-in to Halloween 3. It makes that film make a lot more sense in context with the series. That movie was all about, you know, pagan cults and rituals and Stonehenge.
And then, of course, we get the reveal that Michael was the one who impregnated his niece.
What?
Go on, Will. Defend it. We're waiting.
Well, you were all fine when Midsommar did it. I'm just saying.
Okay, I've not even seen Midsommar, but that is not an excuse.
Your work is done now, Jamie.
Stop with the voice! It sounds silly! The Scream Killer wouldn't shudder in fear at you!
The way I see it, we're 5 Myers films in, and it's clear that no man-made physical force can stop Michael. They've stabbed him in the neck, shot him off balconies, blown him up, hit him with cars, exploded him, beat him, and nothing has worked. So obviously, supernatural things are the only possibility of stopping him. It makes sense to me.
But they use stones! Stones! I mean, couldn't they have used something else? I don't know, a gun, the Ghostbusters pack, a Ouija board, don't ask me. Anything but stones!
They're runes!
They're stones! They also give the same bullshit explanation to Michael always surviving everything, and it still makes no sense. Then the old cow gives the same speech. Alright, she is still really creepy and senile.
Michael heard a voice?
It told him to kill his family.
How the hell does she know? Maybe a serial killer just snapped. I mean, I know it's crazy. Look at Ted Bundy. He had a normal life, a girlfriend, a job, and then he just snapped randomly for no reason. It does happen.
But Michael Myers isn't Ted Bundy. Didn't go to law school. Doesn't have a job. Doesn't have a family. He's Michael Myers, the killer shark in baggy-ass overalls. So Biff roams the house with some creepy music, which wasn't in the theatrical cut. The setup works just as well here as does in the theatrical, so whichever one is better really comes down to preference.
It must be the boogeyman. Here I come, boogeyman.
I'm going to die. The thing is, this is another death that was severely ruined. In the theatrical version, it's brutal. He gets thrown into electricity and his head explodes. That's brilliant. But here, yeah, that's it.
I feel like if they could make some kind of hybrid version combining the deaths from both films, it would be pretty epic.
It's pretty It doesn't even look real. It's the most obvious dummy ever. These deaths suck.
We have to stop acting out of fear. Just look at Tim's family. They live in the Myers house.
You do?
I don't know why, but I just love that reaction.
They live in the Myers house.
You do?
It's just so casual, and Keith Bogart's comedic timing is just perfect.
Alright, so this was in the theatrical cut as well, and it's such a nitpick, but this douchebag is on the phone and calls Michael Myers a pussy. He even threatens to cut someone's nuts off and wear them as earrings. Then he enters a car, and Michael just so happens to be there and cuts his nuts off. How the hell did Michael hear him and know to do that?
But it turns out in this version, he accidentally got into a Smithsgrove van, and, how? And why was it unlocked? Although in this version, we do see a lot more blood on the windshield, and that looks pretty cool.
What happened to the lights?
We're in a horror movie, we don't have lights.
Where is everyone?
Where is the acting? This dude sucks! So she reenacts the stabbing and the lightning hits. This is pretty creepy, and they've added some ominous music, which does really work. Well done! But Michael still somehow manages to scale up a tree to hide a body up there.
Well, maybe one of his cult members did it for him.
That's even worse! Imagine Michael on the phone to one of his henchmen directing them.
I am bad, aren't I?
Who talks like this before sex?
Only when you wear crotchless panties and bark like a dog.
Does anybody find a dog arousing? No, not that again!
Well, him and YMS.
And again, no one showers like this!
Well, the shower's pretty short. How else is he supposed to shower?
Taking the shower head off? Will's never had a shower! So Michael kills him the same way with the awful electronic music playing. Yeah, this still hasn't changed much. It's still
You mean the awesome electric music?
Hold on a second, Danny.
I am scary. Before the telescope scene, and I mean, it's creepy as she sees Michael across the street behind Beth, but the music is just overkill and ruins all of the suspense. And Michael gets stopped by stones. Stones!
They're runes. It makes sense. He's supernatural.
It makes sense if you're drunk, stoned, and had a brain transplant.
With a really smart person. But hey, Michael even tucked Beth in. How sweet of him. And as Kara discovers the body, her acting is incredible.
Act an emotion.
Mommy.
Never mind, you're useless. Should have aborted you.
He's in shock.
And as scary as Michael following them is, him falling down the stairs will never not be hilarious. But again, Danny is at the front door, ready for freedom. Why the flying Anakin armpit juice does she step over and bring him further into the house? Just jump over and run to freedom. No wonder his dad walked out on you.
The baby. Where's the baby?
Wait, how the hell did you lose it? You were in the room with him. Someone literally snuck in the room and took the one thing you're trying desperately to protect.
There had to be someone else. Who knew?
Nobody knew it except me and...
Danny, come to me.
I am scary.
Oh, come on! The candle blowing, the eerie voice, the way Devin Gardner just feels compelled to walk towards the man in black. This is great!
I will admit, the twist works a lot better in this version. In the theatrical cut, we hardly even see Win, so when it's revealed that he's the bad guy, you just don't give a shit. But here, we do spend a lot more time with him, so it just works a lot more.
Mrs. Blankenship! Oh God, hurry, we have to...
Do you mean to tell me that the scary old lady who was really creepy and eerie this whole time preaching about murder and death and knew everything about Michael Myers and this cult was part of the Michael Myers cult? And how does Kara survive this leap out the window?
To be fair, that is a pretty realistic reaction to have in this situation.
That doesn't answer my question!
I feel like I've been drugged.
We have been drugged.
Why are they doing this? Why didn't they just kill us?
You do not need music! Quit having music for the most mundane scenes!
I actually think this time it really works to help build up the third act.
You eat dog shit for breakfast.
That's beside the point.
I think Michael is under the influence of an evil rune.
How the hell did he say that with a straight face?
I actually like this idea. Why not? Again, it ties Michael back to the pagan origins of Halloween and makes him a more supernatural, demonic force. It makes it scarier, it fits more with the tone of the films.
Yeah, coming up next, Jason Voorhees' weakness is butter.
The time has come for you to join us.
Why? No.
Do I need a reason?
So Wynn admits that he used Loomis to find the baby and... I hate that I do kind of like this speech from him. The thing is, if they combined the two versions of the movie, it would only be mediocre, but at least it won't suck.
I do like the music, as it's intercut between Wynn giving his speech and Tommy exploring the sanatorium.
Famine, war, a great plague. These are signs that we must restore balance to the natural order of things.
Oh yeah, signs that the audience won't listen to when they say the sacrifice subplot doesn't work, yes.
Michael?
We've given him the power, the gift of Thorn. I am its deliverer. I follow it. Act as its guardian. I protect Michael. Watch over him.
Is he Michael's dad? So we finally get the ritual sacrifice scene. Apparently these are all characters from earlier in the film, but I don't remember any of them. And just look, the pure image of Michael Myers standing there looks ridiculous.
This is one of the biggest reasons why I think this is the best Halloween film. The Cult of Thorn is scarier than Michael Myers. Michael in the previous films is just one psycho with a knife, but here it's revealed that practically the entire town is involved with this murderous cult. The villain isn't just a scary guy in a mask. It can literally be anyone, from your next door neighbor to a hospital clerk. There's nowhere to hide and practically nobody to trust, and Haddonfield itself is the antagonist. That's a lot more frightening and thought-provoking than just a random slasher, and the film is that much stronger for it.
Michael, you can make him stop it.
You're gonna try to reason with Michael goddamn Myers?
You know whose baby it is, don't you?
Michael!
The baby is yours, isn't it? Isn't it, Michael?
Yeah, baby! Yeah.
Look at him standing there like a stud. Yeah, I got laid. Wait till Jason finds out. And yes, this means that this version got rid of the best sequence of the entire film. I mean, I know that this was filmed first, but my point is, this third act was shit. It should have been filmed to begin with. The whole section of Tommy breaking in, facing Michael for the first time since childhood with a great performance, fighting and escaping. Nah, nowhere in here. No wonder they reshot it all. Wait. Why did Michael just let them escape with the kid? He just stands there. You're Michael Myers! This entire ending is so rushed. There's like 10 minutes left by the time the baby is kidnapped, so it's all over the place. They had that long to try to wrap everything up in time.
Back up from the gates!
I can't, Loomis. I'm putting down my stones.
You don't have the stones.
Oh, I got the stones. I got a whole bunch of stones.
Anyways, this is probably one of my favorite aspects of the producer's cut, and the one reason why I think a perfect hybrid cut would be impossible. Michael being dispatched with a supernatural weapon is a very fitting way to defeat the character. He can't be overcome physically, so it makes sense that he would be stopped through supernatural and pagan means. It also does a great job of tying the film back to the mystic origins of the Halloween holiday, again mentioned in Halloween 2 and the focus of Halloween 3. Unfortunately, it can't be spliced with the theatrical cut, because the highlight of that film was Wynn and the other doctors meeting their demise with the hospital massacre. And it kinda doesn't make sense to go from Tommy wearing his normal clothes to wearing a cultist's robes for some reason.
He doesn't even react to them, or the mention of Sam Hain. This is literally all it takes.
Tommy, where is he?
It worked. Power of the runes stopped him.
He seriously just said that with a straight face.
Oh my god, a supernatural being is stopped with a supernatural weapon. Oh my god, who could have foreseen this?
They're stones!
Runes!
Ah, so now he's going to finally stop being a little pussy. So Tommy and the others escape, Loomis stays behind, and we're finally at the ending.
It's all over. It's all over.
No, they have to make 5 more movies first. But no, it's Dr. Wynn in the mask. What the hell is going on? It inspired Halloween 2018. And this is supposed to be Michael, but it's clearly Dr. Wynn. It just looks ridiculous. This movie sucks. Look, the theatrical cut, I consider watchable, but it's hilariously bad. I can enjoy it and have a good laugh at how ridiculous it is and how seriously it tries to take itself. But here, they don't have the few good things that the theatrical version had, and they just have dog shit instead. I get that this was made first and the good parts were then shot later to try to save the production, but it's not an excuse because this bollocks shouldn't have been made past the first stages of pre-production. It's a joke. It is ridiculous. It has some creepy moments, but then it's ruined by awfully placed music and terrible pacing. It has some decent character development I do care for, but then ruined by atrocious deaths. It doesn't have the seizure-inducing editing of the theatrical version, so I suppose that's a plus. But how this is considered the better of the 2 versions baffles me to no end. The entire third act is awfully paced and more rushed than my marriage, and it's just a bad movie. The theatrical cut was bad, but this is an abomination.
I couldn't possibly disagree more. Both of these films are easily the best of the series to me, but for different reasons. The theatrical cut is terrifying and definitely the scarier of the two. Michael is horrifyingly sadistic in it. The musical score is intense and incredibly suspenseful, and the kills are something straight out of my worst nightmares. The direction also has a bit more personality. The scares are better set up with much stronger pacing. However, the producer's cut benefits from much stronger character development for the supporting cast, and a much deeper mythos regarding Sam Hain and the pagan mysticism surrounding Halloween. Whichever one I choose to watch really depends on what mood I'm in. When I want some bone-chilling scares, I pop in the theatrical cut. When I want stronger characters and a richer mythology, I turn on the producer's cut. I think the theatrical cut is slightly better directed, but the producer's cut is so much more well written. On every level that matters, Curse of Michael Myers is leaps and bounds above any of the other sequels or remakes, and arguably above the original. I may have been able to understand if this film had mixed reception, but for it to be the most hated film in the series baffles me. Seriously? Critics thought Halloween 3 and Resurrection were better than this? Don't listen to the critics. Curse of Michael Myers is truly the gold standard of the Halloween franchise and the best Halloween film to date. I'm giving both cuts of Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers, an A.
That's it, right? I have had enough of this!
What?
You and your character!
What character?
Look, nobody on Earth legitimately believes that Halloween 6 is the best one of the franchise.
I do.
Nobody sincerely prefers the Star Wars prequels to the original trilogy.
I do.
No! I want you to break your character right now. I am putting an end to this!
Look, is it so hard to believe that maybe, just maybe, I love these films because I have a difference of opinion?
Yes!
Well, when you put it that way, nobody hates Lord of the Rings. Are you a character? Alright, that's it!
Right.
Time to break out my secret weapon!
What are you doing?
Now, you can never hurt me. Ow!